Hello and welcome to a Christmas Eve edition of the Showing Up to Life podcast and YouTube channel. My name is Art Burns, and I am here to tell you how happy I am to have you here with me. I want, that's really the sole reason why I wanted to jump on today. As you all know, and first of all, thank you again for all of you who have sent messages, made comments, sent me emails, and all that. I just, please, every one of you, if I haven't replied to you, please know that you've touched my heart with your words. And I cannot thank you enough for the support that you've shown me, okay? Because as I've been very open about in these last few weeks here, few months even, it's been a hard time for me. It really has, and I'm struggling, or I'm dealing with the process, and I'm not struggling, because struggling indicates that I'm somehow resisting something, right? I'm struggling against something. That's exactly what's not happening, right? I've actually stopped struggling is really the reality, right? And I'm allowing myself to just go with it, right? I'm allowing myself to feel the difficulty. I'm allowing myself to feel the grieving that I feel, right? And as I was just mentioning, it's not that I'm struggling, but what I'm doing is I'm facing and I'm confronting and I'm coming to terms with, I'm turning towards some really big trauma in my life that I had no idea that it was even there, right? And I've told you all about this, so we're not going to go all into that. You can certainly look. There's a couple of, if you search personal in the titles of these videos, you'll find what I'm talking about. But the idea here, though, is that, it's been hard. It's been really, really hard, even though I'm not struggling against it, right? And that's a trip, right? Because usually the struggle is the thing that's difficult, right? And that is true, right? So what I'm going through is not necessarily, I shouldn't necessarily say that it's difficult, but it's powerful, right? Because I've surrendered myself to it, it's really, really powerful. And I go through times and the triggers come from out of nowhere. Now that it's like all exposed, it's like, holy crap, I didn't even know, like I have no idea where the trigger's even coming from these days, right? And so yesterday, once again, spent like most of the day. I had plans to do a video. I had plans all, to do all my work, but I wound up in this in this place that was really, really difficult, right? Or again, not so difficult, but heavy and not conducive to doing this, right? And so again, it's like, of course, let's pause here for a second and let's recognize that, and this is something I've been trying to recognize as often as I can, is that of course the holidays are going to dig into this thing, right? Even if it's not specific, right? And not necessarily thinking about holidays when I was a kid and Christmas time and family stuff. I mean, those thoughts flash through my mind, of course, just like anybody else. But it's not like that is the thing that's difficult, right? But the holidays themselves, right? As you watch everything, everything from watching, television advertising or listening to radio advertising or seeing pop-up ads come up on your internet, to hearing the Christmas songs everywhere, to the crowded shops, to the, there's a lot of, nervous system influence around the holidays, right? You see all the houses are decorated, right? The weather is getting cold. The nights, although today we have another like 60 something degree day here in Colorado, which is just not okay. But anyway, but the days are shorter and things are darker, things are more quiet, right? So your nervous system is going to respond to that. Right? So even if a particular difficulty that you might have in your life, doesn't necessarily include the holidays are likely to exacerbate whatever it is, right? Because it's something that we're going through, right? Our bodies and our nervous systems, as much as you want to say, I'm going to put my differences with Uncle John out of my head and I'm just going to enjoy the day, right? As much as you tell yourself you're going to do that, even if you believe it, even if you 100% are trying to do that, it's irrelevant, because there's a neuroception that you have. There's a way in which your nervous system is aware of what's happening around you, right? And so your nervous system is listening to Mariah Carey Christmas songs, and it's responding to that. I feel that I'm a survivor of Mariah Carey every time the song finishes playing, but that's a trauma response from a long time ago. But anyway, I don't mean to bash Mariah Carey. She seems like a really wonderful person, and I wish her all the love and happiness that she can possibly handle. Right. But I'm looking forward to the end of Christmas season, so the songs stop. But anyway, let's get back to the point. So anyway, I wanted to jump on here, because it's really, again, the holidays are also a time where we feel like there's this, pull to, like, do certain things, and part of that is a recognition of like, of really what we're kind of, grateful for, and what we, like recognizing the connections that we have, that's a part of it, right? So we feel like we want to reach out to people, we want to send them cards, we want to. I don't do cards, but a lot of times I feel like, oh man, I would like to do cards, and so this is my way of reaching out to you today, okay? Because I want you to know that I'm thinking about you, right? Even though many of you, I don't know who you are. I mean, I might know your names because I see you on my list and stuff like that. But, many of you we've never met. We don't know anything really about you. I mean, you know about me, but I don't know anything about you. But that doesn't change the fact that I know that you're out there, right? And that you're a wonderful human being with the capacity of compassion and kindness. And I want to just thank you for being you. And I just want you to know how much you mean to me and how really important this community has been for me. And again, I'm here every day giving to the community, but I've received also. And I want you to know that, okay? And so as far as mindfulness is concerned, I did have a little bit of a lesson maybe I want to talk about today, right? And a little practice that we can do as we ease into this holiday. Now, first of all, please, I want to take a moment and first of all acknowledge that not everybody out there is celebrating Christmas the way that my family does, right? My family was brought up with certain traditions. Your family was brought up with potentially other traditions. So please understand that while I'm talking about my experience of Christmas, right, try to adapt that to your experience of whatever holiday it is that you celebrate, even if it's just like the winter, not just like, but even if it's the amazing winter solstice, and that's the sole celebration that you do this time of year. Or maybe you celebrate a number of the holidays because you have a number of different ethnicity or religious entities in your life, right? Maybe you have some people, somebody who's Jewish, somebody who's Muslim, and somebody who's Christian in your family. And so maybe you celebrate all three of those traditional holidays at this time of year. Hanukkah, I don't know the Muslim holiday. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for that. I'll try to learn them. But anyway, the thing I want you to recognize today, or this at this time, right? There's a lot of times, again, it's really important to recognize, as I was saying a few moments ago, it's really important to recognize that at this time of year, even if, again, we don't feel like there's anything on our mind that is Christmas specific, right? It's important to recognize that Christmas or holidays themselves, right, in and of themselves, just by the virtue of the celebratory time of year, right, and the way it's so ubiquitous in our society, right? Like you cannot go into a store right now without hearing a Christmas song, right? And whether you like the Christmas songs or you don't like the Christmas songs, right? You're hearing them, and it's impacting you. There is a nervous system response that is happening to all of this, right? The decorations, the music, the foods, the pressure, the presents, the finances, the time, the excitement, the dread, all of it, right? All of it is part of what your body is experiencing in this time. And so anything that is, bubbling up under the surface there, anything that's cooking in there is going to be impacted by this. Okay, so for this reason, I recommend that you really try to pay attention over the next couple days. And again, whether you're doing something really quiet, maybe you're even alone this year, right? And that's okay to be alone, right? It doesn't mean that you're a bad person because you don't have people to spend Christmas with, right? And it doesn't mean that you're a good person because you do have people to spend Christmas with, right? We're all just people. And this experience that we're having in the present moment is just what's happening, right? And so the important thing then is to recognize that a lot of times what we feel is like, oh, it has to be perfect. I have to be with my loved ones. And well, maybe still the travel restrictions are too much. I mean, they're canceling flights left and right, And so you might have this feeling like, oh, I can't get home to my family, and therefore Christmas is bad, or there's a negative aspect to it, right? And that's fine. I mean, it's totally fine to feel that level of that level of sort of sadness that you can't be doing what you want, right? And of course, this could apply to everything, right? This is something I try to tell my children all the time, right? Is that you're not going to get every single thing that you ask for Christmas, right? And so it's not about comparing what is happening to what we expected to happen, right? Because that's where we start to suffer, right? It's more about accepting that this is what's happening. And in that acceptance that this is what's happening, right? So I didn't get my son, he's not going to get the iPad that he wants, right? But he is going to get this like virtual reality headset, right? And so this is where actually Dan Siegel talks about with the wheel of awareness, right? Like the if you picture your awareness, everything you possibly know is like the rim of a bicycle wheel, right? And your ability to know is the hub of that wheel, right? So that not getting the iPad is one little point on that rim, right? But we can come back to just the awareness, and we can recognize the things that we do have. Right? We can recognize that, grandma's going to come for a visit next week. Or we can recognize that, my family loves me, right? And so, of course, this is hard for a child, right? But it's as adults, this is something we can practice, right? And so as you're going through the next few days, and again, if you're doing anything or if you're not doing anything, maybe you're not even celebrating this stuff, and that can be a thing. Right? Because I imagine that it must be pretty hard for someone who doesn't celebrate Christian holidays, for at Christmas time, like the whole world shuts down, at least in America it does. Like try to go find a carton of milk tomorrow. You'll probably find like a 7-Eleven open or something like that, but you're not going to find your usual supermarket. Everything's shut down. And so that alone can be a stressor. That can be a difficult thing to handle. Like, why should I have to take this day off when I don't even celebrate the holiday? Right? And so that is something that can be accepted. Right? And so acceptance is not to say, oh, well, I guess my life stinks and that's what it is and it's just the way it is. No. It's the opposite of that. Right? It's accepting that even though I wish I could get my son everything he asks for within the reason of what it means to be I know that there's a positive aspect to being disappointed sometimes. So I don't wish that I could get him everything, but I wish that there was no boundary of finance. That I can say, right? I wish that I did not have a boundary at which I, cannot spend anymore, right? But I do have a boundary. And wishing for that boundary not to be there is not going to remove the boundary, right? And so the same thing is true that over the next couple of days as we process this experience, again, whether we are engaged actively in celebrating this holiday or feeling the effects of not celebrating this holiday, right? Either way, as we move forward over the next couple of days, what we can do is we can pay attention, right? We can pay attention to how it is that we're feeling, and where we start to have that aversion and clinging. Right. So the aversion would be like, oh, no, no, no. I don't want Uncle Bob to be drunk on eggnog tonight and starting talking about his politics. Right. Like, I don't want that to happen. That's aversion, right? Or clinging is, I want everybody to be happy on Christmas, right? Or I want my life to be normal on Christmas, even though everybody else wants to celebrate this holiday that I don't celebrate, right? That would be clinging, right? And so we can recognize this aversion and the clinging in our body, right? We can pay attention. We can notice, am I feeling a little tension in my chest? Am I feeling a little heat rising in my ears? Am I getting a little twitch somewhere on my face? Am I feeling my palms clammy? Right? And in that moment, as soon as you feel those things, ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, is there something I can be letting go? Is there something I'm clinging to that I can let go? Or is there something I can accept that I'm being aversive to right now? And then and do it like a game. Pay attention to your body, what happens in your body as you do that. Right? As you let go of the expectation that you were going to get this certain thing from your spouse, or the expectation that your kids were going to want to, play together or something when they're rather fight with each other, right? Like take that moment, pause, and notice what you're feeling, right? Now, really importantly though, right? If you are feeling some tension and you are feeling that struggle, right? Number one, recognize that the struggle only comes because you're resisting something. Okay, that's important. But number two, instead of trying to jump in and fix something, instead of trying to make something all better, take a moment first and just recognize, this is really hard for me. It might not be hard for everyone, but it's hard for me. And you know what? Being hard for me does not make me some kind of freak. It makes me part of the human race. And if I support myself through this, then I will come out in the most advantageous, most desirable outcome there can be. Even though that might not be the perfect outcome that I wish it was. All right, folks, I hope that helps today, and I hope it helps over the next couple of days. Thank you again, everybody. Thank you for being there. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for just your presence. And really, I wish you well, all right? And when I say presents, I don't mean the gifts that I receive, but thank you for those too. All right, everybody. I wish you well, and I'll be back next week at some point, okay? Maybe Sunday, maybe like Wednesday. We'll see, okay? But I wish you everything I just wish for you to be, to feel that you are loved, because whether you question that about anybody else, please know that I love you, okay? And you, again, even in your anonymity, you live in my heart. And I want you to know that, okay? And I'm always paying attention to my heart, so I'm always paying attention to you. All right, everybody. Happy holidays. I wish you well, and I'll be back real soon. Take care, everybody.